Res ipsa loquitur is Latin for, quote, the thing speaks for itself, unquote. It's used in tort law in cases in which the very fact that an injury occurred leads to an inference that the defendant must have been negligent. In City of Louisville versus Humphrey, a widow tried to invoke res ipsa loquitur to argue that her late husband must have been hurt in prison. Ruel Humphrey was wandering the streets drunk at 2 a.m., shaking the doors of houses. The Louisville police arrested him and brought him to the jail. According to two guards, as Humphrey stepped out of the elevator onto the third floor, he collapsed. The two guards dragged him to the drunk tank and left him lying on the floor. Around 7, a guard tried to awaken Humphrey, but the man was unresponsive. The guard tried again around noon, but still Humphrey lay unconscious. Humphrey was taken to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with a subdural hematoma due to head injuries. The doctors performed brain surgery, but Humphrey never regained consciousness. He died about 3 weeks after he was arrested. Humphrey's wife, Mary, sued the City of Louisville. She alleged that Humphrey received his injuries after his arrest, and that these injuries caused his death. She argued that, under the theory of res ipsa loquitur, the injuries must have been inflicted while he was in the city's custody by either the arresting officers, a jail employee, or a fellow prisoner. One of the prisoners in the jail that night testified that he'd heard noises of quarreling and the sound of someone getting beaten up, though he wasn't sure if the sound had come from the drunk tank or somewhere else. The surgeon who operated on Humphrey testified that he'd most likely received his head injuries less than 36 hours before his diagnosis. On the other hand, the receiving clerk at the jail knew nothing about any injuries inflicted on Humphrey. The guards who dragged Humphrey into the drunk tank testified that they'd heard no commotion and didn't know how Humphrey was injured. The trial court found for Mrs. Humphrey and granted her over $50,000 in damages. The city appealed to the Kentucky Court of Appeals.